Everybody, this is Chris, the lottery guy. I haven't made a video in a couple days now. I've been pretty busy, but I'm playing catch up today. And on day 20, I think I've done a video on that, but I did not give the results on day 20. On day 20, which was September 17th of September, the number come out to be 271. Okay, and if you see the number come out to be 271, right here we have it, a total of 10, it'll be 721. We had that on the winner because we had all three numbers, 271. I did not write them down in the correct order, but that's where you have to do your combos whenever you get this list, or you make out your list. You have to figure out which numbers may hit and do maybe possibly a combination on some of those numbers. But if you look here at the pattern on that right there, I have blue and I have green. And that's because the pattern come up so many different ways. Right here it come up 4 ways, right here toward the top. And then it come up another 2 ways right here at the bottom. And I added that pattern to my list on right there because but I'm pretty sure I had it anyhow because the numbers come up. Because of 271, the numbers did come up, but I don't think I had this many different patterns. I probably got it off of one pattern, but I didn't. I researched it and looked back, and I did not see all those patterns. But anyhow, we had a total of 35 numbers on the below 10 and above 19 some. It did not fall in that direction. It fell over here, which the direction I like for it to fall in, between the 10 and 19 some. We had 70 numbers to go by, and out of those 70 numbers that we went by, we had a winning number. I'll tally up here in just a moment on a lot of the numbers on how we're coming up now. We got 70 on this list. When I first started making this pattern test, I only had 75 patterns. Right now, we have a total of 148 patterns. So we've over doubled our patterns, and that's why we're coming up with larger numbers. But we're coming up with a lot more wins. And I'll show you that here in a moment, okay? So now what I'm doing now is I'm playing catch up, like I said. I'm moving on to the next day. The next day was the 18th of September. The winning number come out to be 454. And if I look right here, this was a missed pattern for me. It did not come up on the pattern list. And whenever I wrote all the numbers down, there was a total of 70 numbers. But I did not have this pattern in there. So I went back and I wrote this pattern in. And I may have more than 148 right now. I may be closer to 150 patterns, to be honest with you. But we did not have a win on this right here pattern. So we lost that one on a loss, but it's not too bad because we've been coming up with a lot more wins. I think this is the only loss we've had in like the last 5 days. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next day. The next day right here was the 19th day of September, which was day 22 on this test. I'll get to you that here in a minute on this day 22 on the test, because we started out with 75 patterns for the first probably 13 draws. We did right here. I'll get it right here. We come up with, out of the first 13 draws, we only have 75 patterns on that. And then after I started adding, but we still had 2 wins. Out of these 13 draws, we still had 2 wins out of that. So that was only 11 losses. But most of those was right straight away, I must say. But right now we're looking at 14 total missed and the 7 total wins. But like I said, 13 of these first draws, we only had 75 patterns. Now we got about 148 to 150 patterns. So that's what I'm saying. We went from 75 patterns to 148. We had 2 wins, even though we only had a small amount of patterns. So that kind of gives you an idea now that we're changing up and we got more patterns, we got more wins. And that's what I was thinking was going to happen. But right here, I'm going to show you. The 653 was last night. And I think I was hearing on the radio this morning where there was over 50 people won $500 on that number. And it's a very popular number. This comes up to be the 14 some. And I had it right here, not in the correct order, but I had the 365 totaled out to be 14. Like I said, it wasn't in the correct order. But last night, we only had 51 numbers out of that because of our unusual pattern, the date sums, for where they was located at. That's all the numbers I could come up with. It was 51 sets of numbers between the 10 and 19 sum that out of 148 patterns. So it's pretty good. But we had 25 sets over here on the below 10 and above 19. So with that being said, that's pretty good because you got less numbers right here on the 51 numbers you had on this side. You have less numbers, less than 70 for sure, and we still come up with a win. So 365 equals 14. And like I said, only with 51 of these, you could have come up with different patterns, different combos. What I done the other day was I made a mistake. A couple of days ago, I made a mistake. If I can find my paper, I'll show you. But what I done was I canceled out some of my numbers because I had so many. And number 10 some was one of them that I canceled out. And whenever I done that, I got my numbers down to where I spent $27. I spent $27 on that. This is my list. That's what I was trying to find right here. If you see here, I wrote down all my sums, 10 sum, 13, 12, 16, 17, and I flipped over on the other page where I had 15, 11, 18, and 14. And all the ones that I had these circles around was the numbers that I was going to buy. And I put an X on the 10 sum, and I put an X on the number 11 sum. And the reason why I done that was I figured that, well, number 10 just come a few days before then, so I wouldn't pick that. See right here, number 10 on that 271. This was the day that I bought $27 worth of tickets, and 2 days before that, the number 10 had already come. So I said, well, number 10 is not going to show up again. But guess what? I had the exact number circled right there. It would only cost me about $10 more. $10 more, and I would have for sure $250. But that's the way it goes sometimes whenever you have to weed some out in order to not have too many numbers. So I hope that kind of helps everyone know that this pattern is working. And what I'm hoping to do is after I get the 30 days on this right here, we're on day 23 right now. And after we have about 30 days, we have a lot of consecutive draws on this right here where we got winning patterns. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably have my wife to help me. And I'm going to put this pattern list on my description link. And then you can print it out. And what I'm hoping to do on that there is do a video and show everyone how to use this pattern test. Because a lot of times you have to move on from one number right here where it give you the same number multiple times. And then it'll start changing up to where you have different numbers. And it's real tedious. It does take some time to do this. I won't be lying to you. It takes plenty of time, at least 30 minutes of doing that test, because you got 148 patterns to go through to figure out your numbers. So right here today, is going to be day 23. This is for tonight's drawing. And for tonight's drawing, I have a large set of numbers here. I have 39 over here on the below 10 and above 19 on that. And then right here on the other side, between 10 and 19 some, there are 77 sets of numbers. Like I said, that is a lot of numbers. And you have to kind of figure out which ones you want to throw away and which ones you want to pick to do some combos on. That's the bad part of having 148 different patterns. These are the numbers that come off the pattern, off all 150 patterns. So that's a lot of different directions to cover. But I'm going to be willing to bet just about that one of those numbers is going to definitely come up on this pattern test. If it don't, it will really surprise me. And that kind of lets you know that, hey, I got a number on this list. I just got to pick the right one or see what's going to fall, on which sum's going to fall today. So I hope everyone likes this video. If you will, like and subscribe, and thank you very much.